Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is the DAG speaking, and today's video will be about debunking the skeptics' claim that we've been seeing global cooling since 1998. And to do so, I will resort to reading a news story by Associated Press. It's a recent story from 26th of October, and no use in explaining, I'll just read. An analysis of global temperatures by independent statisticians shows the Earth is still warming and not cooling as some global warming skeptics are claiming. The analysis was conducted at the request of the Associated Press to investigate the legitimacy of talk of a cooling trend that has been spreading on the internet, fueled by some news reports, a new book, and temperatures that have been cooler in a few recent years. In short, it is not true according to the statisticians who contributed to the AP analysis. The statisticians reviewing two sets of temperature data found no trend of falling temperatures over time. 2005 hottest year recorded. US government data shows the decade that ends in December will be the warmest in 130 years of record keeping, and 2005 was the hottest year recorded. The case that the Earth might be cooling partly stems from recent weather. Last year was cooler than previous years. It has been a while since the super hot years of 98 and 2005. So, is this a longer climate trend or just weather's normal ups and downs? In a blind test, the AP gave temperature data to 4 independent statisticians and asked them to look for trends, without telling them what the numbers represented. The experts found no true temperature declines over time. Quote, "If you look at the data and sort of cherry-pick a micro-trend within a bigger trend, that technique is particularly suspect," said John Grego, a professor of statistics at the University of South Carolina. Yet the idea that things are cooling has been repeated in opinion columns, a BBC News story posted on the Drudge Report, and in a new book by the authors of the bestseller Freakonomics. Last week, a poll by the Pew Research Center found that only 57% of Americans now believe there is strong scientific evidence for global warming, down from 77% in 2006. Global warming skeptics based their claims on an unusually hot year in 1998. Since then, they say temperatures have dropped, thus a cooling trend. But it is not that simple. Since 98, temperatures have dipped, soared, fallen again, and are now rising once more. Records kept by the British Meteorological Office and satellite data used by climate skeptics still show 98 as the hottest year. However, data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and NASA show 2005 has topped 98. Published peer-reviewed scientific research generally cites temperatures measured by ground sensors, which are from NOAA, NASA, and the British, more than the satellite data. The recent internet chatter about cooling led NOAA's Climate Data Center to re-examine its temperature data. It found no cooling trend. Quote, "The last 10 years are the warmest 10-year period of the modern record," unquote, said NOAA Climate Monitoring Chief Dick Arndt. Quote, "Even if you analyze the trend during that 10 years, the trend is actually positive, which means warming," unquote. The AP sent expert statisticians NOAA's year-to-year ground temperature changes over 130 years and the 30 years of satellite measured temperatures preferred by skeptics and gathered by scientists at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Statisticians who analyzed the data found a distinct, decades-long upward trend in the numbers, but could not find a significant drop in the past 10 years in either data set. The ups and downs during the last decade repeat random variability in data as far back as 1880. Saying there's a downward trend since 98 is not scientifically legitimate, said David Peterson, a retired Duke University statistics professor and one of those analyzing the numbers. Identifying a downward trend is a case of people coming at the data with preconceived notions, said Peterson, author of the book Why Did They Do That? An Introduction to Forensic Decision Analysis. Okay. Now, one prominent skeptic said to find the cooling trend that 30 years of satellite temperatures must be used. The satellite data tends to be cooler than the ground data. Key to that is making sure that 98 is part of the trend, he added. What happened within the past 10 years or so is what counts, not the overall average, contends Don Easterbrook, a Western Washington University geology professor, and global warming skeptic. Quote, I don't argue with you that the 10-year average for the past 10 years is higher than the previous 10 years, said Easterbrook, who has self-published some of his research. We started the cooling trend after 98. You're going to get a different line depending on which year you choose. Quote, should not the actual temperature be higher now than it was in 98? Easterbrook asked. We can play the numbers game. That's the problem. Some of the statisticians did. Grego produced 3 sharp charts to show how choosing a starting date can alter perceptions. Using the skeptic's satellite data beginning in 98, there is a mild downwards trend, he said, but doing that is deceptive. Conflicting data analysis. The trend disappears if the analysis is begun in 97, and it trends upward if you begin in 99, he said. Apart from the conflicting data analysis is the eyebrow-raising new book titled from Stephen Levitt, Superfreakonomics, Global Cooling, Patriotic Prostitutes, and Why Suicide Bombers Should Buy Life Insurance. A line in the book says, then there's this little discussed fact about global warming. While the drumbeat of doom has grown louder over the past several years, the average global temperatures during that time has in fact decreased. That led to a sharp rebuke from the Union of Concerned Scientists, which said the book mischaracterizes climate science with distorted statistics. Levitt, a University of Chicago economist, said he does not believe there is a cooling trend. He said the line was just an attempt to note the irony of a cool couple of years at a time of intense discussion of global warming. Levitt said he did not do any statistical analysis of temperatures, but eyeballed the numbers and noticed 2005 was hotter than the last couple of years. Levitt said the cooling reference in the book title refers more to ideas about trying to cool the earth artificially. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this. I'll see you all in the next episode. Be cool, truth, and liberty.